Thank you, Shri Kumar, and welcome to everyone. Good evening. Congratulations to the organizers for the Platinum session. 75 years, remarkable, uninterrupted. So well done, and we hope you're going to take it to a centenary and a double century beyond in continuation. It's lovely to have a topic like this. Normally one is talking about standard topics, and this really opens out the thought process. Making of an adorable teacher. And I love the word adorable because it has a little bit of a bias, but it is not too sort of self-defining per se. There's a lot of what other people also think about a teacher. I've been in this profession by choice for 43 years now, non-stop. And yes, I will, as I talk about certain features of an adorable teacher, I'll share a brief anecdote with Rahul Gandhi, who was in my tutorial group in the middle school, in Doon School. But I'll come to that later. So now I wanted to start with a couple of quotations. One which made me sit up and really think is about thinking. And this is by René Descartes, who was a mathematician and a philosopher from France. And he said, I think, therefore I am, and I think it seems so simplistic. I think, therefore I am. But it's really when you constantly keep thinking, you don't turn into a machine. And every day is different, every moment is different. And no two classes are the same, and no two students are the same. And so when you keep thinking about that, then you really become what you desire to be as a teacher. But if we stop thinking and we just keep working like a machine, then quite often we deliver extremely well, but we may not recognize the audience, the students, the clients in front of us, because we're taking them all for granted and things. So that's one quotation I like. General Patton, who had fought so many battles for the United States and things like that, and we only associate him with the Patton tank and killing a lot of people. But he said in one of his statements, he said, if everyone is thinking alike, then we have a problem, not a consensus or a solution. We are simply not thinking enough. So he actually wanted people to not think alike. This whole idea of cloning is what he was not in favor of, and he wanted individuality, and that was really crucial. A third quotation which I liked is by André Gide, again a French person, who said that man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. And that is so important, because sometimes we need to get out of our complacency, our comfort zones. Only then will we look at something. So many times people say you have to let go of something to become something else. But if you keep clinging on to something, that baggage is always with you and is very rare to evolve. So I think in that sense, if you keep these aspects in mind, it's all coming about individuality and how a teacher stands out as an individual, and more importantly, recognizes the individuals in front, not the class together. That's why when a teacher says, okay, all you children, all of you, you've taken away the identity of the child, And so it's very much like in large extended families, or when we were growing up in large families and there were so many children, then sometimes our parents also didn't call us by our names. They used to just call us in a collective system, bachalo, bache idhar aao, kind of thing. And some of us resented it, saying, hey, this is my name and you gave this name to me. So identity is very important. So what does it take to make an adorable teacher? I'll run through this very quickly now. It's about connections. How do you connect? It's about connecting with yourself, your inward self, with the students in front of you, with your colleagues, with the parents, with the administration, with the world beyond the classroom. It's all about connections. Your curriculum has to have a real life feel. And now the pandemic has helped us online to do that. We can sit here and click, all kinds of things and pick up information very quickly, even while the lesson is going on. So it's a connection Children want to have a meaning in what they study. What does it mean in real life? So that's really what a teacher has to do to become adorable. A teacher has to be hardworking and sincere, goes without saying. But a teacher should not lose their sense of humor. I'm delighted that we've got some artists and a cartoonist amongst us right now. And I hope we're going to hear something about bringing a laugh. We must be able to generate laughter in the classroom. And we should be able to laugh at ourselves. If we make mistakes, we should be able to laugh at ourselves just like a cartoonist make you do. And if children make a mistake, we should not make them feel small. We should make them small, because if you make them feel small, they will clamp down.
Okay, do it.
So all the time, we have to make people believe in themselves, and that is why not only do we show a lot of energy, if you're not energetic in the classroom and we don't transfer that energy, the children will behave with their body language and their mind exactly as we are performing. So even I've seen so many teachers who sit at the chair and the table and teach, or stand behind a lectern and teach in schools. I've always said that's the worst thing you can do. Even your classrooms, however large, they have to be arranged in a way where you can quickly move. And the younger the children are, the more they like teachers to be close to them. The older the children are, the more they want you to be away from them. That's basically the whole trend. But you should be able to connect with people by being close to them, rather than all the time from the distance and things. You should be able to make eye contact with everyone in the classroom in a very quick time. And then you have to be empathetic for the students, and be compassionate. To err is human. We've heard that again and again. And children will make mistakes, and we need to rectify it. We need to show them the way. But we don't have to rub them into the ground because they made a mistake. We are making mistakes all the time, and sometimes children are polite and they keep quiet. Sometimes they burst out into laughter. Sometimes they make jokes after the class or behind our back about us as to how we make blunders and things like that. We are all human beings, and erring is human. We must understand that. So we shouldn't take it too personally. And then you have to be firm, but you have to be adaptable also. You cannot just be a disciplinarian all the time. Discipline comes in a smile also. Discipline comes through compassion. Discipline comes through clapping. Discipline comes in various forms. So appreciate. There has to be a shift from a teacher saying, I'm a teacher, to that I am now a mentor to the learners in front of me. That's really important, because what happens is that we keep talking about pedagogy, and we use this term quite often. But honestly, the world has moved on from pedagogy. It's moved on to andragogy, from school style of teaching to university style of teaching, to now what we call heutology or heutagogy, which is helping the learner to learn how to learn. The whole shift has gone on to the learner. And as Stephen Covey said, you must celebrate differences. You shouldn't just narrow it down. Howard Gardner said that when he came up with multiple intelligences in the 80s and the 90s. He wanted us to recognize different intelligences. Some of us are verbal, some are mathematical, some are intrapersonal, some are interpersonal, some are naturalist, music, all kinds of things we have, And so you should celebrate that. If someone is a naturalist, let them see the world as a naturalist. If they're musically inclined, let them look at things through music. Why not? It's the connection I was talking about at the beginning. And Daniel Goleman said that, this whole concept of the IQ, the intelligence quotient, and measuring people only by the intelligence is outdated. It is narrowing it down too much. The assessments we have are all the time testing on our memory power. They're not giving us enough chance to show our skills and look at the same thing differently and appreciate that. And so he said, the success of tomorrow, and this he said about 20-25 years ago, and it's so true today. Success of tomorrow then, he said, was beyond IQ. Stop having these IQ tests and also look at the emotional quotient, the passion quotient. How do you get passionate about what you want to do? The spiritual quotient, the social quotient, how do you interact with each other? If these quotients don't develop in a human being, just like the communication quotient, you may have great knowledge, but you may not be able to show it and translate it into success. And as a teacher, if you don't develop these aspects, you will never be adorable. And the most important thing is happiness quotient. If you do not generate a sense of happiness and well-being and joy in what you're doing, children must come bubbling into the classroom, excited, and they must look forward to coming to school the next day because of the excitement and the happiness they get out of what they're doing. Not the tedium, not the boredom, not the pressures alone. I'm not saying they don't have assessments, I'm not saying they don't test them out and whatever, but do this. You have to be a great all-rounder. Children love to see you outside the classroom. A teacher has to have different shades and different roles, as all of you seem to have. For me, sports has been my passion. Theatre has been my passion. Climbing mountains has been my passion. That is where the link with Rahul Gandhi came up. He was in grade 8 or 7 or something like that. He was in my tutorial group. And I took them for a trek in the Himalayas. This was in 1982 when Mrs. Gandhi was still the Prime Minister. And this was at the peak of the problems in Punjab with Khalistan and whatever. And he is under tremendous security threat. And they asked me, will you want to take him or shall we send him back to Delhi don't take him to the mountains? I said, he's a boy. He's a youngster. What has he done to go wrong? Of course, he'll come out with us and we'll take good care of him and things like that. And Rahul Gandhi was on that trip. I don't know if he'll even remember it. No, I'm sure he'll remember because we got stuck in a lot of snow and there was serious concerns from the security people. We hadn't reached the destination on time and there was a security alert. All those fun we had. But I still have students. You mentioned Doon School. That was my first assignment. But whether it's Doon School, whether it's in Munnar, whether it's all the work I've done overseas, students tend to remember you more by what you've done outside the classroom. The little theatre work you've done, little musical singing you've done, gone and played with them, won, lost, doesn't matter. But you've competed with them, had fun, had a laugh, performed on Teachers' Day for the children, allowed them to pull your leg on the Children's Day and have fun with you. This is all that really makes us human. So finally, to conclude, really, we have to show different colors of us. We should not think that a teacher's one shade only. It's the most boring thing for a teacher today. And children look at diversity. They're so exposed, they're so visual, they're so exposed to persona, body language, tone, and things. You must always bring stories into every aspect. Any topic you're teaching, what connection can you make with a story here and there and a little bit and whatever? That is what they love to hear. Be human. And why? Because a computer can't be human. Finally, teachers are catalysts. They don't have to change themselves too much, but they can change the lives of others, like in a chemical reaction. And always believe and being a thing. Finally, ethical values with everything we teach. Children may think, oh, why are you bringing ethics and all this into it? But they will respect you 25 years later and 30 years later if you instill ethical values in every aspect. I personally think ethics is something that should be a mandatory part of the curriculum in every grade. You cannot get people to become good engineers and scientists unless they're ethical practices. You cannot make them good lawyers unless you teach them ethics and so on and so forth. And that is our responsibility. They can't just pick it up from the universe later on. So this is what I would say. Go in to be respected, not to be cheaply popular, and you will automatically become an adorable teacher. It's a lovely profession. Thank you.